Hello, everybody. This is Dr. Matt Joosse at Joosse Family Orthodontics in Ladensburg, Virginia. Wanted to show off this case because it's one of the hardest cases I've ever done. And when I first show you what's going on in Nikia's mouth, you may not think it's that hard. There's a surprise. So let me show you. Nikia actually came to us wanting just a nicer smile. So she didn't like how these canines kind of stuck out a little bit. And so this is where she was. You can see that these canines stick out a little bit of upper crowding, something that we call a deep bite, where these upper front teeth overlap the lower front teeth excessively, which means you can't see but just a little bit of these lower front teeth when she's biting down. The reason why that matters is because over time, this will lead to a wearing down of the lower and upper front teeth, and they'll start chipping and breaking down. So we wanted to correct that deep bite as well. Here are Nikia's upper teeth. Really, they don't look too crazy from this angle. We see people with much more crooked teeth, much more crowding all the time. Here's Nikia's lower teeth. And again, this doesn't look so bad either. So we actually have a little bit of extra space, some of these lower teeth. But here's the catch. This tooth right here and this tooth right here, these are baby teeth. And the roots of these baby teeth were okay. But Nikia was young when she came to see us. She was 19 years old, I believe. And I wasn't confident that these baby teeth would last for the rest of her life. So we wanted to see if we could get the adult teeth into those positions. The only problem was, here's where her two adult teeth were, more or less kissing in the middle of her lower jaw. If you look at these arrows, you'll see these are the two teeth that have lost their way. They never came in where they should have. So they should have come in where these two arrows are, and I'm pointing to the baby teeth. And you can see, especially on her left side, which is the right side of her screen, there really isn't a lot of root left on this baby teeth. So I just didn't feel good about the long-term prognosis of Nikia keeping these baby teeth. And then someday when she loses these baby teeth, she'll have to replace these teeth with implants or something else. And oh, by the way, we'll have to extract these canine teeth to make sure that they don't come and do damage to the roots of the lower front teeth in the future. So there were a lot of reasons to think, hey, what if we can bring these canine teeth into the positions where they belong? Nikia has a much better long-term prognosis with those permanent teeth in those places. And if we can do it successfully, she's much better off in the long term. So that's what we decided to do. Here's how I started treatment. No braces, just an appliance. We sent Nikia to an oral surgeon to do what's called an expose and bond procedure. An expose and bond procedure is where the oral surgeon will locate these impacted canines. They'll attach a gold chain. You can see there's an attachment to the teeth and there's the chain. And then I'm using that chain to kind of pull from an appliance that I have in the mouth. And the way I started out, I'm just trying to pull these canines backwards and out towards the cheek. And you'll see that as I begin to pull these canines, they're bumping into the roots of the lower front teeth, the lower incisors. So these lower incisors used to be straighter. If I can go back here, you'll see where we started. Look at the lower incisors. They're all lined up quite nicely. And this first x-ray is 6 months into my treatment. And you can see the lower incisors starting to space out a little bit. It's because the canines are hitting the roots of the incisors and knocking them around a little bit. But generally speaking, if you let teeth knock into one another, as long as you don't control both of those things, it's okay. You can run them into one another. It usually doesn't do damage to the teeth, provided you don't have control over both of those teeth. So if I had braces on these lower front teeth and I'm running those canines into the teeth that have braces on them, then you can start getting yourself into trouble. You can start damaging the roots of these teeth. So I made sure not to do that. All right. This is 3 months later, and you can see the progress that I've made, which really doesn't look like much progress at all. All I've done is taken these lower 4 front teeth and flared them out. They're all spaced out. I don't even have space anymore for where I extracted the baby teeth. There's some space there, but not enough for the canines to come in. And you can see my gold chain sticking out of the gums down here. That's what I'm pulling to. These arms are pulling from the gold chain to here. Again, kind of a backwards and an outward pull. So here I am 1 month later, and you can see that these canines are beginning to separate, but man, those lower front teeth are looking pretty bad. Here we are, a couple months later, and and those lower front teeth are looking again pretty bad. I'm again don't have space for my canines to go in where they belong, and so what I started to do at this point is I have the braces on those lower front teeth, and I'm beginning to push those lower front teeth together. At this point, I've let go of my canines, so I'm not moving the canines and the lower incisors at the same time. Here, I'm just moving the lower incisors and beginning to push them back together so that then I can resume pull on my canines. Um, Let me back up one step. At this point, I'm a year into treatment. So I'm a year into treatment. You can't see the canines at all. The lower incisors look terrible. And, at this point, I'm just hoping that Nikia doesn't lose faith in me. I knew what I was doing, but I was a little scared about how this looked. And she certainly was a little concerned about how it looked as well. So here I am, 5 months later. I've pushed the teeth, the lower incisors together. I've consolidated space where my canines are going to go, and I'm going to begin to pull the canines again into those spaces as I hold the lower incisors where they are. So here's an X-ray taken just a few months after that, and you can see that I actually have my left side canine in. I even have a bracket on it, so it's attached to my wire. My right side canine, I'm still pulling up into that space. This is me at about a year and a half into treatment. I only have lower braces on. I've ditched my appliance that I started with, and I've got one of the canines at least showing up in the mouth. So here's a picture of what that looks like. And you can see the canine on the left side just starting to show up in the mouth, canine on the right side not showing up yet. Roots of the lower incisors are pushed way back lingually towards your tongue. Again, I had initially run the canines into those roots, so they've been pushed out of the way. All right, here I am. I am about 2 years into treatment at this point, and I've got both of my canines actually in the mouth. So from here, it took me a while to try to position the roots. The canine roots were way out, towards the cheek. The lower incisor roots were way towards the tongue. And so I began to add my upper braces, work on the root positions of the lower teeth. So here's an X-ray showing that I've got the canines in. This is about 2.5 years into treatment, and I finally have my upper braces on as well. So here's where I finished. You can see that the lower incisors are well aligned. Canines are in good positions. I've tucked the roots back fully into the bone for those lower canines. And here's my finished close-up of the teeth. You can see that you can see a lot more of the lower incisors now. So we've eliminated that deep bite, and we've got nice alignment of the upper incisors. Here, of course, is the really awesome part. So her smile, Nikia's smile, is just awesome. And she was very aesthetically driven, really wanted this to turn out well. And so made sure that we put everything we could into getting a great smile result, even though we'd worked so hard on just getting those canines into the mouth. So a little comparison of Nikia's smile from the start to the finish. Beautiful result here. Thank you, Nikia, for being patient with me. Certainly, we went through a year to a year and a half of things looking nothing but worse before they started looking better. And so I just really appreciate your trust in me. Like I said, I knew what I was doing all along. I knew it would look worse before it looked better. But man, it looked pretty bad there for a while. So really happy about this result. Thankful that Nikia has her permanent canines in the mouth, and really happy for this smile result.